With real estate prices as they've been in the last several years, a lot of families are looking north to Port St. Lucie versus what they get here in Palm Beach and the rest of South Florida. And it's become one of the fastest growing cities. Today, we're going to uncover some of the pros and some of the cons when it comes to living in Port St. Lucie, Florida. When I moved down here about 19 years ago now, I wish there was a video like this on YouTube to help me. And I would definitely love to be following along with a map. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. So let's go to the map. This should give you an idea what I'm speaking of down here. And you can just see from the population on this map. From Palm Beach ends, the northern part of Palm Beach ends at Jupiter. And all the way down here, Miami is crazy when it comes to traffic. So this is what they call South Florida. Anything north of there, like Vero Beach up down into Stewart and Port St. Lucie, is what they call the Treasure Coast. Prices have skyrocketed since 2020. Some cases double, 50% to double to 100%. So one of the things that people are looking at now is Port St. Lucie, and it's today in Florida. And let's look at the whole map of Florida. It's a big state. From like Miami to Pensacola is about a 10-hour ride. But so within Florida, Port St. Lucie now is the number seventh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 largest city in Florida. So let me zoom out, and I'm going to give you the first con when it comes to moving to Port St. Lucie. You can see here that if you're going from central West Palm Beach up to Port St. Lucie, I don't know how well you can appreciate this on the map. It's an hour ride. And it's also the home, West Palm Beach is home of the Palm Beach International Airport. So one of the first cons when it comes to moving to Port St. Lucie is you literally have an hour ride to get to one of the international airports to get to pretty much anywhere else in the country. Having said that, it would not surprise me that they do build an airport there. The place is growing like wildfire. We're going to cover in this video, we're going to cover a lot of the places people are looking at. Port St. Lucie is a mecca when it comes to new construction, has one of the best 55 plus, has several good 55 plus communities. If that's I would definitely consider it. We get a lot of people who look at both Palm Beach and Port St. Lucie together, and oftentimes the overriding factor, whether they pick one over the other, is family. What do I mean by that? Well, people, generally speaking, when they have family living in South Florida, lots of times they've been here a while, and if that's the case, they're probably in Palm Beach. And so we'll get people that their daughters or their sons, I don't know, their cousins, whatever, live in Palm Beach, and they want to stay close. And sometimes that is tough to overcome. If you're a traveler, if you like do a lot of traveling and you find yourself traveling for business to Chicago, New York, and all these other places, an hour ride might be a little bit much. You can go north to Orlando. There's a airport up there as well, a big one, a big airport to fly out of. It's a destination for everything, Orlando. But that now you're looking at about an hour and a half ride. So when it comes to travel, you're sort of stuck in the middle of you know where when you live and when you're thinking about moving to Port St. Lucie. But here's one of the biggest pros when it comes to moving to Port St. Lucie, Florida is the prices of homes are extremely reasonable. As I mentioned, we'll look at some of these communities later. But oftentimes I get people who are looking at Port St. Lucie, the same builder, the same model even, Port St. Lucie, and then also in Palm Beach. And the homes are $150,000, $200,000 more in Palm Beach. You can still get new construction homes that begin in like for single family homes that begin in the fours, 400,000s. There's no way in the world you're going to get that in Palm Beach. Palm Beach, you're lucky to get that in the 500s. Realistically speaking, you probably want to be in the 600,000s. If you look at Avenir, and we're going to talk about that area later. If you're looking at Avenir, you're looking at like $1 million. So oftentimes people go to Port St. Lucie to look at the new construction options there. I'm going to show you on the map where primarily some of these are. We'll go back to it later, but let me show you the little like sneak preview of some of the areas that people are frequenting when they're moving to Port St. Lucie, Florida. So if you're taking your car up here and you're going to Port St. Lucie, A lot of the new construction here is west. Like here, like this is, see, it's not exactly easy to get from here to there. I mean, let me tell you, one of the cons, doing a lot of cons when it comes to starting this video. That's unusual. But one of the cons when it comes to moving to Port St. Lucie is you're a little bit far from the beach, but that's all relative. We're a little bit spoiled here in Florida, where we think the beach is like in our backyard. It is. But relatively speaking, that is a lot for people who live here. So a lot of the new construction areas are in the western part here of Port St. Lucie. They have areas called Port St. Lucie West. They have a lot of the it's where the land is, and a lot of the better higher end new construction communities you'll find here west in Port St. Lucie. As you notice in that on that map, about a half hour to the east is Jensen Beach. That's probably the number one beach people are going to use. There's Stewart there. There's Hutchinson Island to the north. There's Hobe Sound. The beaches there are great. They're my number. I think I mentioned this before in my other videos. My favorite, my number one, number two beaches in the South Florida area they're in Northern Palm Beach. You're looking at Jupiter. I'd probably rank Jupiter number two. Some people would rank it number one probably. And number one I like is Juno Beach. When it comes to water sports, you cannot beat these places. Great surfing, kayaking, fishing's amazing. I see a lot of people fishing off the inlet and so forth. So when it comes to water sports, there's no place better than here in South Florida. Let me do a corollary to this video. Let me talk a little bit about some of the other places that people are really frequenting. You have Port St. Lucie, you have Palm Beach in the middle. That's the sweet spot right now. Shh. Well, it's not really a secret anymore. It's the sweet spot right now. Stewart, Florida, Palm City, Florida. Those are two of the fastest growing areas. You probably haven't heard about these yet. But people talk about Port St. Lucie as it is such a big city. I'll go through some of the numbers about what that means. I did mention it's the seventh largest city in Florida now. But fast growing is Stewart and Palm City. It's like halfway between the two. The growth there is tremendous. And I got to mention this new construction community because I think it's super important. And if you're thinking about moving to South Florida, this is an area, and it's in the right budget for you. This is an area I would definitely consider. Newfield, Palm City, Florida. If you look at this community now, I think there's great value there. It is the builder in that area is the builder's Mattamy. Mattamy in the Port St. Lucie area does a ton. They do a lot in the tradition area of Port St. Lucie. But the Newfield is going to be, when all is said and done, it's going to be over 4,000 homes. I think the number they're targeting is 4,500 right now. They have 9 sections, and the first section is called Rosetta Park, and they're just getting started. They literally have just at the timing of this video, they have sold about 50 homes. That's it. And they've had 3 price increases. Why is that? Well, I'll tell you, we do a lot of new construction because we are a new home co-broker here at eXp Luxury, and we know this market very well when it comes to new construction. They start out, generally speaking, very low. The builders, especially in a brand new community like that, they want to get sales going. And as the community starts selling, they don't need to be so generous with their incentives and their pricing. So they start jacking it up. They had one really significant increase, like a $30,000 across the board on their base price of the models. A second way to increase prices by builders is not through the models, but through the land. That's their secret way to raise prices. Sometimes when you buy a new construction home and you want to you have to buy the lot with it in often cases. So they don't always publish. You'll notice when you go to these sites, you do not see prices for the lots on their websites. You might see the prices of the base price of the home. They won't show you upgrades. They won't show you the lots, because you need people like us to help you, guide you. Living in Palm Beach, Florida, Ray Fernandez at Living in Palm Beach, Florida. I'd love to help you in this regard. You should reach out for that Zoom we're going to tell you about a little bit later. There's no cost for you to have us help you. But So they can raise prices through by raising the price of land, and that is a little bit more, not as transparent. So we can help guide you when it comes to that and what's expected and what the pricing is all about when you're buying a home here in South Florida. So I mentioned Newfield's going to have 9 separate sections, and each each section is going to have like their own amenity center. Like right now, the first one has this amazing farm, working farm, and then they have one is going to be like a fitness center and all that. So we've already done business in these communities, and it reminds me a little bit of a community in Palm Beach called Alton, from the perspective that the price of the backyards in general are a little bit smaller. If you want a place with a huge backyard, it is not the community for you. You will get a backyard, but it's not like you can get a half an acre there. It's just not. But if you want like a close-knit community, go to our video on Newfield. We did 2 videos recently on Newfield. Go to that one or that one, and you'll see that in the second video, I think it is, they have like these little sections in the middle of the in the community where people just gather. People from their houses, they can just gather. They have a barbecue there. It's really easy to meet people when you move to South Florida. So getting back on some of the pros and cons, and continuing on the first pro, when it comes to moving to Port St. Lucie and Stewart, for that matter, and Newfield, is that the prices are a lot lower when it comes to comparing it to Palm Beach, and of course, definitely the more southern part of South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami. I'm going to give you a pro and a con here. We love one of the reasons why people use us again is to get an unbiased view, because we don't care which builder or which home you look at. We just want to help you. The numbers are important. I speak to you guys every day. People moving down. I just had a closing today. I wrote a contract today for new construction, and I just started a new conversation with them just in one day. So we're always moving. My team and I are always moving with these things, and we hear the feedback. And one of the things that people want to know about are the numbers. And the one number that's very important that I find often people ask is about real estate taxes. So like I said, the pro and the con, right? So Palm Beach is roughly about, now, if you buy a house, it'll be about 1.75%. If you go to Zillow or Redfin or these websites, they're very misleading. If you want like a good website that helps search for properties, my email address is below. Our email address is down below. Reach out. We'll send you a link to a good, you can just search. We're not going to bother you. We'll just, you can just search for houses and not get involved with the Zillows of the world and get sold everything. What often happens is you'll see the taxes will say a certain number, and those taxes are misleading. Those are the taxes for the people who live there currently. They could have been there 15, 20 years. And when you buy that house, those taxes will not translate over to you. You will get reassessed on that. Reach out to us. It's a very important point. But you will definitely, no matter where you buy in Florida, you will get reassessed. Palm Beach, it's 1.75%. People will tell you it's 2%. It is 2% of 85. It's complicated, but 1.75 is about right. It's above 2% in Port St. Lucie. So one of the cons when it comes to moving to Port St. Lucie is the real estate taxes are higher, often offset by the lower prices we talked about. But that's one of the cons. Now here's the sweet spot. I mentioned Port St. Lucie. I mentioned Palm Beach. In the middle, I mentioned is Martin County, which is Stewart and Palm City. They have the lowest. On a rough estimate, this is my estimate, and I've seen it and I've experienced with this, you're looking at about 1.6%. Now, you guys out there that always challenge me with this and Googling taxes, I promise you, you're getting the wrong information. I work with people. We are like the #1 relocation team down here in South Florida. And we work with people all the time on this. And you can go, I've seen people that'll bring up these websites that'll show that taxes are 1%. And I'm not misleading you. I'm telling you that the truth is. What the truth is. I'm telling you the truth. The 1.6 is roughly what I see people getting when they're buying in Palm City and when they're buying in Stewart. Now, Stewart's a bigger city. Stewart is an active area. It's a quaint fishing town. And let me tell you about a few of the communities that you find in Stewart. So this will give you a good idea of this map. So here's Port St. Lucie, and here's Stewart. And as you can see, it is a lot closer. And there's Palm City. It's a lot closer to like down here is Jupiter. That's Palm Beach. It's a lot closer to that. Zooming out, you can probably see here. There's a lot of stuff in here in Stewart. This is they have a downtown area, and you're also closer to the beach too. You can get to like the Gardens Mall from Stewart in about 20 minutes. And here's the other. This Cove Road here is there's a lot. This goes right into Jupiter Island, that area, Port Salerno, the water district there. There's a lot of new construction on there, on that around that corridor. And let me tell you about the Stewart new construction communities. One that's selling really quickly, and I think the builder's a really good builder. The builder's Coulter. The community is Cove Royale. It's on that Cove Road. That's why they get the wrong name, Cove Royale. It's next to Christ Fellowship Church. If you want to look it up on a map. Because a lot of these maps, because these places are growing so fast, a lot of the maps can't keep up to the growth in Port St. Lucie. But it's a relatively small community. From a amenities perspective, it is not super rich. There's not a lot there, but they have beautiful homes, and it's a lean HOA, so that's a good one. Also in Stewart there's a builder, Devasta, which is apparently parent company of Pulte Homes. They've got a community called High Point. I really like this community. It's a bigger community. It's a little bit further out, a little bit further away from Cove Royale. There's a Port Salerno, which is a Kehovanian community. So there's a few things, and that's all within. You can like walk to all these. They're all fairly close to each other, but they're one of they're some of the hottest communities. I just remember speaking with and that's where I got that Palm Beach, the Gardens Mall. Speaking to the consultant over at High Point, I asked her where do you go shopping from here? And it's 20 minutes to Gardens Mall. The Gardens Mall is the nicest mall in South Florida by many accounts. It definitely has like really high-end really high-end retail stores. That's the word I'm looking for. Retail stores there, like a Gucci's, like the Brooks Brothers. All those high-end labels are in there. So it's close enough. There is something that might be a game changer for that area. There's something called Story. It's spelled Storie, that they're working on possibly bringing to the area. It's going to be like a mega city place, like downtown West Palm Beach, on the horizon. If that goes in, the plans that I've been told or being guided to, if and when that gets approved and goes in, that's going to change that area completely. Like right now, when you go to some of these areas, you might think it's a little rural, but you're getting it on the ground floor. And that's one of the reasons why prices are just so darn good when it comes to moving to Port St. Lucie, Stewart, or even moving to Palm City. So here's something I find interesting. I often, again, we do a lot of relocations. And one of the questions one of the factors people always tell me I want to watch for, and it's impossible to really factor it. I mean, you can't go into MLS and say, I want to know where the safest neighborhood in Florida is. It just is not possible. But I'll give you this. Port St. Lucie was voted the #2 safest city in all of the United States. Forget what publication rated it, but it has the second lowest crime rate in the United States. And I can sort of see that. It doesn't, it's the other factor I notice. I've seen no magazine mention this, but I'm telling you, it is a very clean city. It's not like we're going into Manhattan, that's for sure. It's one of the more clean cities I've seen. I find it to be quite neat, and maybe because it's a lot of new construction. Why is the case? I'm not sure. It could be. Also, it's like I mentioned, it's the seventh biggest city It's 113 miles north of Miami, and there's two. There's the fourth in 2023. It was the fourth fastest growing city in the nation, the United States. So there's tremendous growth. No matter where you turn in Port St. Lucie, you see a new construction community. And if you're in the market for a 55 plus community, this place is crazy. Port St. Lucie is the home to one of the nicest 55 plus communities, and we're going to get to that in a minute. 19 years ago, my family and I relocated to this beautiful part of the world we call sunny South Florida, and we haven't looked back. Today, we truly find honor to help people, perhaps like you, do the exact same thing. So if you're thinking about moving to this area and you want to ask questions from people who've actually done it before, well, there's a few ways to get a hold of us. Down below is our email address. That's one great way. Also on the screen, you see our phone number. You can either call or text, but literally two of the best ways is in the description in the comments section. There's a link. Click on that link. Well, if that'll do is that'll set up some time for us to speak, either through a phone call or through a Zoom, whatever way you feel most comfortable. In any case, we have your back when it comes to relocating here to sunny South Florida. So using the map again, here is the number one 55 plus community. If this community was in Palm Beach, this place would be a bajillion dollars, and it'd be sold out too. The amenities here are killer. But this is it's showing here as Valencia Walk, but that's not the only Valencia. Let me tell you about this place. Riverland is a mecca for 55 plus. It's going to be I'm going to say it's going to be 5,000 to 6,000 homes. I don't think they know yet. It's made up of a few communities. They started with Valencia K. Whenever you see a Valencia in South Florida, like a community with the name Valencia in it, it's a code word for GL Homes. That's their signature label for 55 plus communities. They have the same in Palm Beach, which is like Valencia Grand, Valencia Sound. Now Valencia Del Mar, that's the hottest new one. If you want to know about that one, you should reach out to us. But again, Riverland, they start with Valencia K. Their Valencia Grove was then next. They did Valencia Walk. They've already sold out of. I think the Walk is the smallest and probably it's the smallest. And it's one of the nicer ones, I think, too. Valencia Park is where they're selling now. Now they're also selling some villas, which are really hot because you can get a villa in there in the 400s. They actually have some that start like base price in the threes. But realistically, you're probably at about 400. You know, we live in Realville here and living in Palm Beach, Florida. Anyways, so you have you have all those. The amenities are absolutely killer. The activities they're just all over the place. They have a thing called a paseo. You can drive your golf cart between all those communities. There are separate. All those are separate communities. And you could drive your golf cart between all those communities. It has I forget the amount of pickleball courts, but it's a lot. Very competitive pickleball courts. Pickleball. They have an indoor pickleball. They have an indoor pool. They have each separate area has their own amenity center, and then they have a sports complex for everything, where they have a big gym and they're expanding it even further. A garden area, cooking classes. You name it, they have it at Riverland and all the Valencias in Port St. Lucie, Florida. When it comes to new construction communities, if you walk into their sales center directly, you're absolutely crazy. We highly recommend independent representation. What that means is we're there to help you. Instead of you working directly with the seller, with an employee of the seller directly, we're there to help guide you. The cost to you to have our help is zero out of your pocket. It's the builder that pays us, and they're happy to do so. You can ask them. But the most important thing about it is in most communities, we need to be there on your first visit. And we'll be there not just for your first visit, we'll be there all the way through closing. But in order for us to help you, we need to be on the first visit. If you go there on your own and say you don't have a realtor the first time around, more than likely they won't allow us to help you down the line. We highly recommend independent representation. Let us know if you have questions about that. One of the cons when it comes to moving to Port St. Lucie and Stewart and Palm City is you're going to have to be patient when it comes to the traffic. Now, the traffic's not terrible, but as they as the city and the cities are growing, it's not used to the type of traffic patterns that they're currently experiencing now. So they're changing the traffic patterns, and so you've got to be patient with this. I Avenir, like in Palm Beach Gardens, we do a lot there, and I know people who viewed it in the early days and decided to pass on it when the prices were significantly lower than what they are today because well, there's too much traffic in this area. They're going to fix it. They always do. And Port St. Lucie is sort of the same thing today. It's why I think these are good. These are good values. They eventually did pick fix the avenue. I had a closing an avenue today, and these people that it's a 14-month build time in that particular community. Port St. Lucie in general and in Stewart and whatnot, it's less than that. Generally speaking, it's about a year, and they're quick delivery homes to in there as well. But having said that, these people were saying to me, the buyers who now closed today, saying when we first moved here from then to now, it's a significant difference in what we're experiencing when it comes to traffic. The city officials see what's going on, they watch the patterns, and they make adjustments. The thing is, it takes a little while, but over time, if you want to get on the ground floor on any of these communities, now is the time. All right, I'm going to move on to some of the all age communities again, but before I do, let me round off a couple of the other 55 plus communities. Tularo, I like a lot. It's a community. It's a smaller community. If you don't want all those amenities, you want a more quaint. Well, they have a lot of amenities as well, but from a smaller scale, you want more of a quaint, charming type of community. Tularo is one I would look at. Del Webb is Pulte Homes. That's the signature for 55 plus for Pulte Homes. Really nice community, strong amenities, not like Riverland, but strong amenities. They're almost selling out. Keovanian, they have Four Seasons over there in the wilder area of Port St. Lucie. So there's just a ton there. If you are a golfer and you want a membership community, the Tesoro Club is a traditional golf community, a traditional membership golf community that is really high end. You go to lunch in their clubhouse there, you'd feel like you're in the clubhouse of Caddyshack. I'm sort of kidding. It's not really a joke, but it feels like a real club, and it's super dope. The other way to do it is if you go to Astor Creek. That is another golf community. That is a membership community, but it's not an equity membership community, which is a big difference. Reach out to our team if you want to know what that's about. We really owe it yourself to give a Zoom. There's no obligation to you and to you to do it. When you speak with us, we're just there to give you guidance as to what to expect. But I like Astor Creek a lot. There's a lot of land available because they're so early in the process. Next door to Astor Creek, I'm going to stay on this. On golf again. If you're a golfer, these are great places. PGA Verano. I just had a contract written in that one. When I have people that love golf, and the people who bought this time are not golfers, but you don't have to be a golfer to live there. Not a membership community. It's not an all age. It's not a 55 plus. But it's a super good community. It's a big community. 2,770 homes. They started this community several years ago, and they're down to 700 now. So they're getting towards the end. It's the number one for that builder, Coulter. It is the number one community at Coulter, number one in terms of traffic, number one in terms of sales. It's a rather strong community, and you can literally take your golf cart to the golf course from your garage. When it comes to these communities in general, Port St. Lucie is the least expensive. Then comes Stewart. Then comes Palm Beach. I'll give you a good example of some of the things that comparing these two same builder communities. There's L'Ambiance in Palm Beach Gardens, in Avenir area of Palm Beach Gardens. Really nice community. Coulter's the builder. I have people looking there, and Cove Royale, which is in Stewart, which is not as north as Port St. Lucie, and the prices are basically about $150,000. You look at the same different. If you look at like the Lila model at the builder, and you will see it's $150,000 more for a home in La Albiance in Palm Beach Gardens versus Cove Royale in Stuart, Florida. So like I say, we help families all the time, consider moving this area, even if they're in the early stages. Most of the people that we work with are in the early stages. And I have lots of families that I've worked with personally that have taken literally 3 years. And they come down, and if you want to learn about the areas, you want to have a conversation about the differences, I'll happily do that with you. If you want to look at a new construction community while you're down here, I can help you with that. I'm patient with people. So I've been where you are. I've been in that situation moving from New York, from Long Island, New York, 19 years ago now, almost 19 years to the date. I know what's going on. I'd love to help you. Port St. Lucie and Stuart then aren't what they are today. It's where a lot of people are looking. If you want to go to Palm Beach, there's a lot of great places. Right now, the number one area is Avenir in Palm Beach Gardens. We have more contracts there than anything. If you want to speak to us about that, we have a ton of videos on Avenir. Here on this channel, we have a whole section on our YouTube channel called "Living in Avenir." So if you want to learn about that, we'd love to help you. In any case, like I say, we have your back when it comes to living here and moving here to Port St. Lucie, Stuart, Palm City, or Palm Beach, Florida. Stuart, Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie, paradise here in South Florida.